Hey, it's Brian Earth from Apollo Bebop, and you're listening to The Rodriguez Show.
And we are back on The Rodriguez Show here on Hits 101 Radio, and we have a very special guest group here. The biggest group we've had in the studio so far, Weapons of Mass Creation. How's it going, guys?
Yeah. What's up?
Hey, there's 7 of them sitting and standing in front of me. So we're going to start with you, and you're going to introduce yourself into the microphone and tell them what you do.
You got it. My name is Luis. I'm the guitarist and kind of like El Mandon.
It's good, guys. It's Jacob. I'm the bassist and vocalist.
My name is Jules, and I'm the MC and vocalist of the group.
Nice.
Shit, my name is Joseph. I play the piano.
Mo Buddha, play drums, and I rap.
My name is Esther. I play the saxophone and I do a little singing.
Solitude MC, and I'm just gonna hype up my boy right here. He doesn't just play the piano. He produces and he mixes and masters. Him and the drummer in the back right there.
Hey.
In the back, so put some respect on their name.
So they have the Labor of Love EP out now on all streaming sites, right? Apple Music, Spotify, and they can follow you on Instagram at WOMC714, right?
Precisely.
And that's where they can get your merch. And right away we'll plug the December 5th, the Wayfair in Costa Mesa. You can get them. It's only $5 to see them live. And then you had a gig this Sunday, right?
Yeah, it's a community festival in Garden Grove.
Nice. And they can get information on that on Instagram as well.
So
Right?
you can.
Yeah. That Wayfair show is dope because all the proceeds are going straight to help assist folks in Tijuana that are refugees or seeking asylum.
Oh, okay.
So,
wow, yeah, that's a good call.
Pull up.
So how did it all start? How did you guys start making music? I know some of you guys are related. Take us back to the beginning of that.
Actually, technically, all of us are related. We're all brothers and sisters. And I guess it started with me and Jacob playing music. And initiated that way. We're both guitarists, and then it kind of trickled down to my other brothers, Moses and Joseph, and they kind of started taking over like the percussion and melody of the group, and from there just kind of caught on like a bug, and then even the cousin Solitude was like, I'm jumping on with y'all, so we just went and did
Nice.
it.
And then Esther, our second youngest sister of like the family, she joined literally just like last 3 months.
Oh, nice.
Performed for the first time at our EP release party.
And that was in September, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're all family. I know I read in the OC Weekly article that your mom taught Baile Folklorico in the driveway. So when you guys started making music, they must have been supportive, right?
Yeah. I mean, they were supportive about us making noise, but not necessarily being like, oh, we're gonna be musicians and we're gonna dedicate.
My older sister pursued like an education and like higher education, so for them it was like she set the standard, like go to college, get a degree, kind of like live like the immigrant dream essentially. So my mom was all about the art, so because she was a dance teacher, I think that she was supportive of us making music, but she's like, it
wasn't a viable like career choice, you know.
It's just way too much of a risk for her, and so
it's understandable, you know. Like you tell someone you're gonna fucking make it in music, it's like,
yeah. I mean, any creative,
hella unlikely food, but
whatever.
we do what we do. Like,
you're doing it now.
We're still doing it.
Yeah, I feel like any creative thing is going to be risky, you know, because there's no set path for somebody like you guys that are making music your own way, you know. So you guys started making music under a different name, right? When you guys were started, and then
right.
So how did Weapons of Mass Creation come together, and how did you come up with that name?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we were playing when they started playing at Strength Function. It's funny because I was still doing my undergraduate shit. I went to school in Santa Cruz. So I was up there from like 2010 to about 2014, and I think that Franco Function probably started playing together like
2012,
late 2012 into 2013 while I was still in school. So I would come home like fucking winter vacation or spring break, whatever, and we'd already been producing and freestyling, and I'd already been playing guitar for various years, Luis as well. So we had kind of that. Everybody had their individual kind of journeys and approaches to the music already. And then I think just me graduating Luis like being in the kind of like the work field, and everybody kind of just coming together, realizing that we kind of wanted to take a more serious approach with the music. Was when kind of Weapons of Mass Creation had its inception, probably like in 20 like really seriously like in 2016, 2015, 2014.
Yeah, I read both dates online, so I was trying to.
I think nonchalantly 2014 was like
2014 was the date that like because 100 like because 2015 I get what you're saying. So 2015 was the point where we didn't just jam out or like kick it and also pursue something. It was the point when we finally started having a vision. And I think we always had a vision, but our vision was definitely like, it was also fueled by like the kicking it aspect about making music. So I think 2014 though, it definitely like laid the foundation for like the creativity. And I think 2015 was like, okay, this is the vision. And then each year we built more on like, how can we get this vision like built even further. And I think that's where we built like professional aspects of our like music. But I think it all started like just because at the end of the day, we make music, right?
When did we meet you, Phil?
2012.
2012, right?
We were kicking it by 2012 already, but we weren't starting to like make music till like 2014.
Like seriously making music till 2014.
Yeah, 2014.
Because was it where you guys didn't even know your roles yet? You just kind of all jammed out with different instruments, or
more or less.
Yeah, low key.
This fool was a mastermind, low key behind the beginnings of it. So I don't know. You remember? Yeah, no, for real. It was.
If I had a bigger head.
Nah, I just finesse all these who's I
finesse. We sign contracts all of a
these who's came into some
I'm on
money
a
and shit.
720.
720.
all the way around.
And I was like, let's buy a drum set, and then the same drum set that we use to this day to perform and shit is the same drum set that we bought like back in when I was like probably like in 6th grade or some shit. But we all put our money together to fucking get like, and then my older sister just like put the rest or whatever.
That was the start of it.
I had a little drum set, and then we still use it, and it was like a quality fucking drum set, so that shit was able to last and shit. So we
still take it to shows occasionally. It's like a little small town. Superstar.
Wow. Brazilian. So you guys, you mentioned a lot even in online that you don't make music for the money. You know, you're doing it to have fun. So when you create that, like, okay, we're going to start taking this more seriously now, what kind of plan do you lay out? How do you prevent becoming just like, making music like corporate sellouts or whatever? How do you prevent that from happening?
It's the family, dude.
And the message. I think the family. I agree with you, it's the family, but I think what's kept us even more because families fight. And I think what keeps us together really is that we don't. At the end of the day, we don't do this for us. We do this like it's creating a soundtrack for folks that have gone through things like we have or that we haven't, or we know people that have. So it's like when you're writing a song that's outside of you and it's for like that kid that is like whose parents are undocumented, who's walking down the street trying to like feel like the vibe and like trying to be able to bop to music but hasn't like felt that from anything else. Like it's easy to like be like fuck a check, you know? Fuck a check, like.
And also, I mean, we have control over our sound from the like the bottom up and shit. So it's like when we do music and shit, we fucking do it. We record it. We learn how to fucking put it together to fucking do a lot of shit besides just like learning how to play your instrument and shit. So it's like no one could really replicate what we have and shit. And then like,
in that same way, like we haven't lost touch with like the reason that we're making music together in the way that it's a therapeutic process for all of us, in the way that we all contribute, in the way that it helps us to check our toxicity, in the way that we like need to be better at communicating, you know, in the way that we're reflecting and like affirming ourselves. Every time we're writing some shit, we're like affirming ourselves, we're hearing ourselves. It's like an extension of ourselves, and we're able to like see ourselves in that way and reflect and kind of think about how we can be healthier individuals, how we can navigate healthier as men, women, folks that identify as whatever gender or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So in that way, it's very much like a reflective process. And since we haven't compromised that, and we've been able to do everything in-house, thankfully, like we're blessed to have the privilege to do so, then we haven't like lost track of that. So that's a blessing. That's a privilege for sure.
It's definitely collective therapy for sure.
We would be doing this even if like it wasn't a possible career for us.
Yeah.
We would be doing it just because it's, you know, it's been something that we've been able to bond with, heal with, just like fucking free therapy.
Yeah.
It's very, very nice.
Wow. It's like deeper than just, oh, we make music. You know, we're a band that plays like gigs and stuff. It's you guys are compelling. You're compelled to push the message out there because you want to reach those people, and that's very admirable. So how does speaking of, you know, the dynamic of the band, how do you guys write a song? Like who comes up with an idea first?
Shit. I mean, it can come from anybody, yeah, but like me and this will make beats and shit, so we'll make some shit and then like it'll have like a certain chord that we like, and then we'll take it to the band, and then people will take on like this. We'll replay the drums, he'll replay the bass and the guitar and everything, and then but it could come from different places because he also writes shit, and then this fool also makes his individual shit and like.
So yeah.
Something is also just as accidental as me just like going into the fucking pad and like these fools are just like bumping a beat that they made the night before. And I'm like, oh, I like that, fucking email it to me. And then I kind of write on my own and then present it to the group, and then we're like, all right, let's fucking record it. Yeah. And then once that, and then we just layer. Then like, oh, bass can put some guitar if you want. Oh, can add a bass. So it's different every time, but I would say Joseph and Moses have really propelled our writing experience because like they come with the foundation of just already a beat, you know. Yeah. Doesn't have they start to scratch and then like we kind of add on to it.
Because it does. It comes down to like starting with the beat and it'll motivate everything else. You know?
It's kind of a trip, low-key, because with the ability to like produce beats and email that stuff and having that kind of technology to just kind of disperse and give folks like access to music that we created and be able to work like remotely, that's like been one process. But with like Labor of Love, it was very much everybody was coming together and like workshopping the songs live, like with instruments in hand, and then going into a recording process, which was different than stuff we've done in the past as Weapons of Mass Creation for sure, because like these who said, it was sometimes a little bit more like production focused, or it was more kind of able to be done in a remote way where we didn't all have to be like, you know.
So is that why it's called Labor of Love? Because it was done in that way?
That's a big part of that.
Sure. It's kind of the growth point, like where we're at right now, because we've been able to, I mean, we're lucky enough to have been kind of collectively growing for a couple years, and this last year kind of gave us what we needed to kind of become more autonomous when it comes to recording and all this stuff. So, but at the same time, we had to do like 100% of the labor. So then it comes down to like, you guys really want to do it? Like, is today the day we're doing it? But we had to kind of like, you know,
set our own deadline and shit. Like, it's hard to set your own deadline. It's fucking hard as fuck.
Yeah. Like, especially when you're the one deciding it, you're like, oh, we can push it back. Yeah, we can push it back. So I saw you for the first time at the Cool Lab Music Festival. How did you guys get involved with that? The Cool Lab itself.
We actually know Pablo Bebop from, I think we just gigged with them, right? We just kind of got on the lineup with them maybe like 2 years ago, I think it must have been.
We did Los Globals with them.
Oh, that's right.
They reached out to us.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was.
They reached out to us to do a gig because we've been do similar things, whole different trajectories, but live hip hop, you know, when you boil it down to that level. But
yeah, people were like, oh, y'all got a similar sound, and we just kind of heard their name through like the Vine of just like, oh, you know, y'all remind me of this group that we found from like Santa Ana. So just through that, and then we found out that they do like a weekly like community event in like downtown Santa Ana, which is super dope because that space is definitely lacking of a lot of culture and like, you know, community. So they really built that, and we really respect them as musicians and like, you know, organizers in that community, and they invited us out to the Cool Lab, and it was super dope. You know, they definitely have built a fan base. People were really showing up for them, so it was really nice to be a part of that.
Shout out to those fools from Apollo Bebop.
Shout out to those fools. Shout out to that boy Alazo, because that's who
he built that.
Thankfully I started working in Santana too, so I was working every Thursday right there at the Libro Mobile, which is, it's a dope little spot, and so I was checking it out a lot. After we had already met, we had already done gigs and stuff, so I was able to like, I don't know, you have a gig with someone and you kind of do the quick, hey, yeah, let's collab, we have dope sound, da-da-da. And it just always like ends to there. But there's a lot about community building that is past this like initial like introduction. And I was really lucky to talk to Vincent and like really get to pick his brain and like Cause that food, I mean, that's his baby, and shout out to him, like, cause Apollo Bebop had the sauce, but they didn't have the main course to put that sauce on, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I really want to like uplift his name, cause I know he's out right now. I think is he back in Georgia?
Yeah, because they're starting the Cool Lab over there.
Yeah, he's in Georgia. See, that's what I'm saying. So he's back in Georgia, Macon, Georgia. He'd want me to say Macon.
So what do you guys think about the Orange County music scene? I know you've been navigating it since you started. So what is it? What's the state of it now?
I mean, we like to say that we're a part of that state, and like the fact that we're trying to kind of create art out there that has a certain type of precedence. We're trying to be really intentional about how the art's presented, how it's rolled out, and really kind of match it with other artists who can like give us like logos and like album art and all that stuff to kind of match the level of detail we're trying to get into. So we hope that we could say that the state of Orange County is doing better because we're out here trying to do the most, you know. But on top of that, like we do have a lot of respect for like homies like Apollo Bebop, and there's a few other bands out there too in the area that are out there and they're making music, and
shout out to hippies.
Yeah. So
Loki's is the OC music scene's a little scarce. People always mistaken us for an LA band because that's where we're always gigging for the most part. Like
that's also
so. Like we started off like, kind of like in Santa Ana area, like Fullerton, but it's just. I don't know. I don't personally like Fullerton. Downtown Fullerton.
No, it's okay. You're not alone.
Not to knock it, but it's just like there's a certain vibe there. You don't really see a lot of like people of color and like raw ass fucking culture. So for me, I always kind of go to LA for all that stuff. So really, it's been kind of a journey to, in some ways, kind of create that space for ourselves while trying to just like navigate like where there even is music, you know. So it's
I think there's a lot of artists that come out of OC, but I don't think like OC in itself kind of like embraces those type of artists and shit. You know, like LA has a lot of fucking people that come before that can guide a lot of fools to be able to be successful, but OC doesn't like even if they have a lot of talent, like people don't know what to do with their talent. You know?
I agree.
So it's like you can't really get out of fucking OC because like you don't have a fool to tell you like this is how you do it, fool. So it's like it's fucking hard.
I feel like OC's music scene implodes on itself, and I think it eats at itself because I don't think there's a lot of like solidarity. Like like I'm just gonna call it out. Like I think that there's different spaces where people can connect, but I don't think as like like you said, like as LA scene versus OC scene. OC scene is like, oh, you got this little scene, you got this scene, you got these, like these are the rappers, these are like the live bands, and I don't think like it really has anything, and because of that everyone's just trying to get the most out of that little spot, and so they like they don't really build something that's bigger for all of us, and I think that's what like that's when you know like Cool Lab's dope with that. There's a few other little spaces that do that, and I think the music that's coming out of OC is it's dope. I think the artistry that's coming out of OC is dope. I don't think collectively, like really collectively, I don't think OC's got it there yet.
Yeah, we still have a lot of work to do, I think.
I agree.
So, coming back to Labor of Love, I wanted to ask you some pretty simple stuff. What was the hardest song to make out of this one, do you think?
Hardest song?
Probably Montana.
Only because it was new. We had just written it maybe like beginning of this year or something. Hadn't really performed it live. The difference is that all our other tracks on the album, for the most part, have been songs that have already been written since maybe like 2 years ago. The newest songs that we have are maybe like 3 tracks that we had just kind of figured out like this past year. So just by default of it just being a new song, I would say that our song called Manzana Venenosa, it's like a mix of kind of like an indie ballad with like cumbia in it. Also because of the tempo changes, you know, it's like literally 2 genres that we mix together.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but.
And then I read on the Old Enough was one of your guys' favorites that came pretty quick, right?
Yeah, that one came a little bit easier. This fool Moses had produced that song initially just like in studio by himself. He produced that track and he had laid one verse on it, and then can we play that live? Threw like that shit kind of in the live circuit, threw a little hook on it, started fucking around with the little switches, and then that was just a fun song to write. That one was just like came real nice.
So Labor of Love, the EP, you can get it on all streaming sites. And then is there anything else that you guys have looking forward to the rest of this year? I mean, you just released this EP. Now you're just going to perform it.
Yeah. We have some things we're excited for. We're gonna be trying to release this project on vinyl. That's been kind of like a
goal of ours.
A goal of ours to kind of get our music pressed. So that's something we're pretty excited for. We have some shows that we're looking forward to, and that we'll be announcing in a little bit too. As well.
Nice.
Working on a music video. Hopefully released before the end of the year.
Great. So they can get all the information at the Instagram WOMC714 on Instagram. And then, like I said, Labor of Love EP on all streaming sites, The Wayfair, December 5th. And get some merch, pre-order that vinyl. They can pre-order it, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
We'll be announcing that hella soon, so Instagram.
Awesome. So before we play some of your tracks, we're going to play some of them on the show. But before we do, we have this segment called 60 Seconds With. But since there's so many of you guys, we'll do 2 minutes, and we'll try to just get through 5 questions. I don't know if we can do it, but we'll try.
Is everybody going to answer them?
Everybody, yeah. We're just going to start from you and then go all the way down.
Me, Luis, and Jacob. Hey, let's cut our answers.
Let me pull this up. I'll pull up a timer here too.
Favorite album of all time?
Me?
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Starting with.
All right. Let me just. I'm gonna do it on my watch here. Okay, ready?
Yes.
All right. 10 seconds. And favorite comic book character or superhero?
Ooh. Damn, this is not really one for me.
Wolverine. Okay. Favorite song right now?
Come
I'm gonna go back with you, Kendrick Lamar.
Ooh. I fuck with Ari Lennox, Chicago Boy.
Hey.
Denise Williams, Free.
Ralphie Pagan, No Soy de Ti.
Taking it back.
Anybody have a hidden talent?
I brew beer.
I know how to cut hair.
You know how to cut hair? Barber extraordinaire.
I can paint with my feet.
You could paint with your feet? Can't top that.
One of us is always lying.
What about the first CD you ever bought?
Ooh.
Tupac Alive.
No, it was Kanye West.
I think it was Rhythm and Gangsta.
No, that shit.
You have to.
You said Rhythm and Gangsta. What about you?
Low-key, I burned a lot of CDs, but it was Outkast, Love Below, and Speakerbox.
Oh, you burned all the
I thought it was Late Registration. I think it might have been Speakerbox.
Late Registration is also a classic. Early 2000s hip-hop or early 90s?
Early 90s.
Early 90s.
Early 90s, yeah.
Put that 2000s on.
You said all 2000s?
Early 2000s.
2000?
Oh, no, like early 90s.
Yeah.
Early 2000s is Nelly, baby.
So what?
Okay, first song you illegally downloaded.
Hold up, what's that?
Illegally downloaded a song. What was it?
That shit was probably like Lil Rob.
Summer Nights.
Andy Weathers.
The Lollipop by Lil Wayne.
Oh, that's probably what it is.
LimeWire.
All right, and the last one. Let's see, Rapping Drake or Sad Drake?
Fuck Drake.
Understand, Jake.
All right, thank you guys. Weapons of Mass Creation. Follow them at WOMC714 on Instagram, and come back anytime, guys. Thank you.
I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey.
The Rodriguez Show.
And that's gonna be it for the Rodriguez Show. Thank you for listening.